Don't water down your standards just because you're thirsty. What a line. What a line. What a realization. But today we are going to talk about self worth, self abandonment, desire, desperation, loneliness, and holding out for what you deserve. Lots of topics to cover, lots of things to talk about. I know that if you have clicked on this video, if you are sitting wherever you are right now, you are probably like, oh God, I feel a little seen, I feel a little heard, and I need a way out of this feeling. Because when we are in a moment, in a phase of life, and trust me, it is a phase of life, being this thirsty, we need to remember that our standards cannot be watered down no matter how desperate we may feel we are for love. Because deep down, what you really need is to just realize your worth, to realize that you are worth having standards, that you are able to let go of your desperation, that you can step out of your loneliness, and you can see what you actually deserve at the end of the day, who you actually want to be with, rather than just being so thirsty that you're gonna fall all over anyone who gives you any little bit of attention. Because trust me, I have been there. I have done that. And I don't want you to do that. You don't want to do that. That's why you clicked on this video. So, with that in mind, I just want to talk a little bit about this idea of thirst and self-worth, because you're probably thirsty for this feeling. You might be craving to find worth in a relationship, a partnership, whatever type of romantic dynamic you're wanting. You are craving it because you are desperate to feel worthy and to be seen and loved by someone else. That's kind of where this thirst stems from. I know this because I've lived this. When we think of what this word thirsty actually means, it's just a symbol, it's just a metaphor for wanting and craving attention, affection, closeness, and just to be seen and to be known by another human being. This is 100% normal. It is so normal for you as a human being to want to feel close to someone, especially in a romantic way. The danger of this thirst comes in how we try to, quote, quench the thirst. What are you letting in? What are you giving your attention to? Who are you, quote, dependent on or thirsty for this feeling of closeness, value, and just to be seen by another person? How are you quenching your thirst? Usually, the way that we try to quench this thirst, if we are very thirsty, is quick fixes that usually leave us feeling worse than what we felt like before. So this might look like accepting situationships or being in a relationship that genuinely isn't serving you, being with someone who doesn't actually know who you are, who might not actually like who you are, or maybe you're with someone who you don't actually like, but you are afraid to be alone. These are quick fixes and ways that we might quench this thirst. Quench is honestly a hard word to say, but these are ways that we might quench this thirst, is by being with people who are genuinely wrong for us. And this is when that idea of standards really comes in, because you can be thirsty, desperate for attention, but you can also have standards at the same time. These two things can be true at once, but oftentimes they are not. You need to remember that while you're thirsty. And this is where this idea of self-worth really comes into play, with this battle between thirst and standards and desperation and wanting to quench and, just wanting to be loved by someone at the end of the day. You gotta have standards, you gotta have self-worth. So let's get into that a little bit more. The main way that we try to, quote, quench this thirst is through settling. You have to ask yourself right now, are you settling for a situationship that at the end of the day probably isn't going to turn into a relationship? Because Most situationships do not end in relationships. There's this reason why it's called a situation, because situations have a beginning and an end. That's the truth. Or are you ignoring the red flags because you are too afraid to start over when you are either early on in dating someone or maybe you're deep into a relationship? Are you ignoring the red flags? You gotta ask yourself this question. Am I settling for someone that I don't actually know is good for me? Are you settling for someone that you don't actually know if you like them or if they like you? These are some hard hitting questions that when you are in a phase of feeling thirsty can feel like a knife being dug into you because you just don't want to deal with it, because you want to just be with whoever it is that you're with because you're thirsty or you're trying to find someone and you're desperate. You got to face these questions. You got to face these fears. I want to make another note on settling before moving on to some of these other topics. But the thing about settling is that it's not always loud. Sometimes it can be very quiet, and sometimes it can be a self abandonment that you might not be taking into consideration. Like if you are similar to me, maybe you are someone who prides yourself in how patient you are and how you are willing to wait for another person to be ready, to want to be in a relationship with you, to be ready when their job or life, kind of calms down. I don't know what your situation is, but if you are patiently waiting for someone to look at you and decide that they love you, you need to stop doing that. I'm being very blunt. I'm honestly, I don't know what your situation is, but chances are if someone is not showing you that they love you and you feel as though that you have to wait to see if they will love you back, you got to walk away from that. That is like, you will always be thirsty if you are in a relationship like that or situationship, whatever it is. The person who is right for you will know that you are worthwhile and that you are the one straight up front. Just like you probably have been looking at this person, this situationship, whatever it is that you are currently in, wanting them to see that you are worth it. The right person is going to see that you are worth it immediately. We can't talk about this idea of being thirsty and just craving love and attention and affection without talking about loneliness. Because the thing about loneliness is that it is a void that we as humans so desperately want to fill. When we are lonely and thirsty, temptation to fill the time and space with anything is so strong. You can just not like want to be alone at all when you are in this mode of just craving love and attention and to have a romantic connection. But the thing that is the most important for you to do at this moment is to figure out how you can be by yourself and to figure out how you can be alone. Because once you figure out how you can be alone, how you like to live your life alone, and that you truly don't need anyone in order to be okay, that's usually when love, true love, comes in. Because you have to truly love yourself. You don't have to, like, it doesn't have to be 100% there, but you have to see that you are worth being loved by yourself before another person can truly love you. Because I don't think that you're able to truly love someone else until you realize yourself that you are deserving of love. That's like a very, I don't know, that's like a very hard thing to put into words. And I hope that I just like didn't throw you for a loop when I said that. But I think that love truly does start within you. And if you don't have it within yourself, where you see that you are worthy of your time, where you are able to be by yourself, where you know how you like to spend your time, how you would like to spend your time with another person, what your values are, who you are, if you are unable to truly be your own friend, to truly be your own companion, it's really easy to just let anyone in. It's really easy to just think that everyone is the one when you don't realize like who you actually are. Because you have to learn to sit with your hunger for love without feeding it junk. Because if you try to, I'm like using so many metaphors today, but if you try to just fill your time with anyone, whoever will give you attention, affection, whether it's going on dates with a million people, being in a situationship that isn't serving you, a relationship, or if it's, you know, I don't know, just like not going about love and trying to find a connection in a very true and honest way, then you're just feeding yourself junk. You're going to lose sight of what actually matters when it does come to standards and what you deserve if you keep trying to fill the void. It's not going to happen. I think another misconception that can truly happen when we are stuck in this phase of just feeling thirsty and watering down our standards is that we can get so stuck on someone that just claims that it's just not the right time for the relationship. There's no such thing as right person, wrong time. In my humble opinion, I do not think that that is a possibility. Maybe it's because I personally have not experienced it, but I'm of the humble belief that it's just the wrong person at the wrong time, because someone who truly loves you will treat you right. Someone who truly loves you will stay with you. Someone who truly loves you will see that you are worth it and will want to change and stay and to work on things together. That's what the right person does. There's no such thing as the wrong time with the right person. It's this idea that the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing at the end of the day. I don't know, like I don't feel as though there's a balance between right thing, wrong time, wrong thing, right time. I don't really know. I just feel as though when it does come to a relationship, if it doesn't work out, that means that it wasn't for you. And that's just kind of how I feel about it. And maybe it's my own lived experience, but I genuinely believe that if the right person were to come along and find you, that they will not leave you. With this idea of watering down our standards just because we're thirsty, it's all about a reclamation of power. It's all about understanding who you are and that you deserve to have standards. You deserve to have a love that is true to you, that lights you up, that fills you up, and you do the same to the other person. To me, the sign of a truly healthy and good relationship is that you add value to each other's lives. So when you think about what you value, what type of values you want your partner to add into your life, you really need to take these things into consideration, because when you see those values in another person that you are dating, you will know for sure that this person is worth your time and love and attention. You have to understand who you want to be, how you want to show up in a relationship, and how you want another person to show up for you as well. You don't have to earn love by being low maintenance or easy or always available. That is not what love means. You are able and willing to have standards. What standards means to you needs to be based on values, needs to be based on things that are of merit when it comes to another person. Standards are different than a checklist. I also have another episode for that if you want to go watch it. But standards are the things that are a non-negotiable for you to feel seen, heard, and loved by another person. It is what lights you up when you recognize this value in another person. Values can look like a handful of things. They can look like honesty, affection, or loyalty. Maybe you're looking for someone who is compassionate, which is always a good one. You always want someone who is compassionate or empathetic. Maybe you want someone who is strong-willed. Maybe you don't. I don't know what your values are, but you know them deep down. Values are so much different. Well, I guess standards, values, I kind of use these words synonymously, but standards are values. They are things, adjectives that you can describe another human being. They're not superficial. You need to understand the difference between values and standards versus a checklist, because a checklist is always superficial. Checklist is, I want them to be attractive. I want them to have a 6-figure job. I want them to be 6 foot. You know what a superficial list looks like. I don't have to go into detail. But you are allowed to have values and standards. And this is something that you need to recognize no matter how much you are craving love. The biggest way that you could reclaim your power and really find your value is by choosing solitude over settling, because that is the ultimate act of self-worth. When you choose to be alone, to be by yourself, to be single, and to just focus in on who you are, what you value, and how you want to grow and develop as a human being, chances are you are going to be able to find someone who is on the same path. And that is a person of value. When you are able to see the value within yourself and want to add value within yourself, you will attract that same type of person who will want to add value to your life, who will want to better themselves as well. That is like, oh my God, that's like winning the lottery right there. When you choose self-worth, when you choose yourself, when you choose to add value to your life, when you choose not to settle, you will find the person that you have been looking for, that you have been so thirsty and desperate to find. Because when you quench your own thirst by going within and by seeing your value and what you bring to the table and what you want the love of your life to bring to you as well, you will find it. I promise you. Your standards are not walls. They are the doors that the right person will walk through. I want you to know that that person is out there ready for you when you are ready for them. You have to quench your thirst. You have to see that love isn't something that you need to crave every second of every day. Love is within you if you decide to find it, and that person who is deserving and worth your time, love, and attention is out there for you. You don't need to compromise. You don't need to be understanding. You don't need to be easy or available. You don't have to be patient. You don't have to be anything for the right person. The right person will see you for who you are from the very start. And that is something that I can't lie about. You know when the right person is in your life. And if anyone is making you more and more thirsty, the more and more you get to know them, run. Trust me, I know that you might be tired of waiting, that you might feel like it's all too much, that you just don't even know whether or not they're out there, but I can promise you that they are. You just have to be patient. You have to allow yourself to walk through that desert and get to the ocean of love on the other side. Okay, I'm done with my metaphors today, seriously. But I hope that I helped you understand love and desperation and this thirst and craving that is genuinely so natural to have as a human being. I want you to know that you deserve to have standards. You deserve for your values and needs to be met by another person. This feeling of desperation, this feeling of thirst, this wanting to just let anyone in to fill the time, to fill the void, it's not going to work for you. I hope that I helped you understand that today. I hope that I motivated you to see that you are worth everything and more. Let yourself see that your standards are what keep you safe. Your standards are what the right person will be able to handle. Don't settle for anything less. All right. That's all I got for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. You deserve love. You deserve real, genuine love. You deserve to love yourself. You deserve to just have a healthy relationship and to have high standards. I just want you to protect yourself, to protect your own heart, and to let the right person in. Don't let anyone in, let the right person in. You just got to be patient. You cannot let the wrong person in just to fill the void. You got to wait for the right person because they are out there. I can promise you that much. With all that being said, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like this video on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, give a 5-star review. Also comment on there as well. I love seeing people's comments. Honestly, it really makes my day. So if you want to comment, feel free to leave a comment. Also, if you want to follow along on social media, I do have a TikTok and an Instagram. You can follow at To Be Known Pod. The links will always be in the show notes. Also, I do have a website if you ever want to ask a question or want advice on anything. I have a little about I have a little contact me page, so feel free to fill that out. I would love to hear from you. And that's all I got for you today. Stay true to you. Bye.